strong and established, and at this point contribute hundreds of thousands of dollars each year to their districts. And one other very passionate startup who, similar to the Nutley Educational Foundation, works diligently to leverage less dollars, still growing, but make an incredibly, and I would say equally significant impact. Each foundation has had a similar mission as the NEF to maintain and enhance the high quality of public school education for all of our students. They do that via the community and other alternative sources of funding, innovative and essential education programs, and of course fostering a close working relationship and supporting the mission of the school district, but also providing a careful review and evaluation and financial oversight of the supported initiatives. Each foundation identifies and secures financial resources, develops partnerships with the corporate and business communities and organizations, and I think most importantly, creates fulfilling volunteer opportunities. And again, each of these foundations has been a partner to a district that has a rich history of excellence in education. But most importantly, each of these foundations was started based on a need, and separate and distinct from the district where it was created, with the need to support the district. In spite of each of the district's successes, like all the other districts in the state and probably across the nation, these and Nutley are confronted by the ever-increasing challenge of funding public education. You hear us talk about it, you read it in the paper, you know that escalating costs, expanding enrollment, decreasing tax revenues and government funding. I think that I'm safe in saying that all of our taxpayers are demanding lower taxes. There are higher operating costs, increased regulations, less flexibility, and I always say not but least the 2% budget caps that we face. And each of these has to be offset by alternative sources of funding if a district is supposed to maintain, as we are trying to do, an extraordinary range and caliber of academic, extracurricular, athletic, social, all of the opportunities that have become a standard in this Nutley town. So public financing alone just can no longer provide the opportunities that students across our districts need and deserve. And school districts and school boards have to have that additional support to augment, to supplement, even complement, honestly, the programs and activities that we've typically funded through the district budget. And, you know, a lot of you have seen the model of colleges and universities, even our local private and parochial schools, the independent prep schools. They've always had private endowments. They've always had contributions available to sustain or support and expand their programs. For us in public schools and public education, it's been our taxes that have historically been the major source of revenue. And again, that is a real stretch these days. We know, and we've highlighted it over and over again, that thriving public schools are essential to the vitality and economic well-being of the community, our community. And serving children of all backgrounds and economic circumstances, our strong public schools are preparing students to become the productive workers and informed citizens, to help them foster friendships that transcend neighborhood boundaries, strengthen property values, and again, here in Nutley, engender civic pride. We really have had the benefit of enjoying a reputation for a high quality education, and the Nutley Educational Foundation is poised to play a paramount role in funding grants that really distinguish our schools as top performing in the state and nation. And I say all that, and you're going to be surprised when I say fundraising is all fine and good, but the true value of the Educational Foundation is really in bridge building. I'm just going to take a minute to take a little poll, because there's a lot of you out there. If you would please raise your hand if you are a parent of a child in the district. So a lot of you. Raise your hand if your children have already gone through the Nutley Public Schools. Pretty many of you too. Teachers, staff members, you have a lot of you. Yep, we sure do. Interested community members. Yay. So the fact is that our population, the US population, is aging. Households with children attending the public schools are actually a very small percentage of the US population. Most school districts still function as though parents are our largest constituency. And honestly, US schools today enroll a record number of students, but the number of households that don't have school-age children outnumber families with school children by more than 2 to 1. And the gap continues to widen every day. The true customers of the public schools, I'm sorry to tell us, not the parents who send us their wonderful children, or the businesses that employ our graduates. Our key stakeholders are the taxpayers who send us their money to operate our schools.
Thank you.
So, what are we, the Nutley Public Schools, doing to communicate and build relationships with all of these owners, especially those who don't have school-age children? And as I look, I see you out there, I see you nodding. Know that we're counting on you for this next part. Because I'm going to say that one of the most powerful and effective tools we can use to build relationships is the educational foundation. So again, another short poll. How many of you tonight would consider yourself corporate leader, Chamber of Commerce member, representative from a college or university, another local charity, not the SEO, parent group, any parent group, booster club, alumni club? Your hands are going up every single time. I know we have our public officials, yeah, our police officers, retired school employees, high school alumni, parents of preschoolers, not yet quite in our schools. Thank you for coming tonight. Spouses and families of school employees. Some of those too. Single people. Haven't yet got children in the schools. Lots of you too. Clergy. Real estate agents. Do we have any of our local celebrities here tonight? So we have some of those. There you go. Small business owners. Thank you, small business owners. Regional community leaders. Got those too. How about anybody from one of our economic development groups? Civic organizations, Rotary, Lions, Elks. So you can see that even in this room, we have a lot of bridges to build. We have a lot of representation that's not necessarily who you may have thought would be here to become members of an education foundation, to donate money to a foundation, or to participate in this kind of important initiative. The Nutley Educational Foundation can build those bridges between the district and the public, especially in community sectors that may have been previously overlooked. One group I conspicuously did not call out. Anybody want to call out themselves as a senior citizen? I have a lot of those here tonight too. So the NEF can bring a whole different set of patrons, people that we get to work with, people that we get to learn from, people who maybe are going to find out a little bit more about our school district. And the NEF is going to be educating those patrons as well as fundraising from them. So when we work together, our impact is greater. Nutley's public schools are creating our next generation of neighbors, of creators, of leaders who I hope someday will be sitting out there raising their hands for the next members group. Your donation, your membership, is an investment in all of our shared future. The strong public schools that we have are an investment in our community and the future in Nutley. Today's third grader, you a third grader? What grade are you in? Second grade, okay. Today's second grader is tomorrow's entrepreneur, family doctor, future employee, duck holder. Duck holders are good things. Relationships are the most important thing a school foundation can build.
long after, and I'm sorry to say this, but long after the computers you purchase are in, I see you standing there, but I'm sorry, or in a landfill, or the level library books you buy gather dust on the shelf, the relationships that the foundations create leave a legacy that will affect our lives and our children's lives forever. In the brief time that I've been in Nutley, I think that I can confidently say that we believe, all of us collectively, that a strong public school system powers the health and the well-being of the entire community. The programs that the NEF funds that we support across the district make education more engaging and more accessible for all students. The students that we support each year become our next generation of workers, and the investment that we make in them is an investment in the health of our community, not just today, but tomorrow. The NEF offers the community the opportunity to become part of the solution, and there really is a solution to be had. It's about parents, and community volunteers, people just like each one of you, who are committed to providing the best public education possible for our children, people who are willing to give their time and their talents. So I'm going to ask, selfishly, to please join the NEF to help us achieve our goal of creating the very best educational environment for all of the Nutley Public School children, to help us with a strong school system, to formulate thoughtful people, to stimulate creative thinkers, to help us produce more leaders. And as a side note, because I promised I'd say it, because great schools, where's my real estate agent? Because great schools also ensure strong property values that attract people to this town and to towns where people place a high value on education. As Nutley residents, and as somebody who I swear spends more time here than in my own residence, we all have a stake in supporting the continued excellence of our schools, and you can do so by contributing to the Nutley Educational Foundation, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Before I sit down, I just want to thank some of our Board of Education members here and staff. I know you raised your hand during my brief pull-around, but I do want to call you out. We have Sal Balsamo, we have our board president, Charlie Kaczynski, we have Mr. Kelly, Jim Kelly, one of our high school teachers. Chris Ostake, who you met before, was not also called out as a teacher, so I want to make sure that we call her out as a teacher. We have our assistant business administrator, our director of communications, our director of curriculum 6 to 12, our director of, I hope I can get all this out, fine performing and practical arts. We have our police officers. We have Fred Scalera, who you have so many hats, I'm not sure, he's a board member for me, but again, you raised your hand, I think. But we are thrilled to have you here tonight, thrilled to talk to you about the foundation, thrilled to talk to you about your involvement and how, again, you can support our efforts to make the Nutley Public Schools the very best they can possibly be. Thank you.